Hey, Marcos, come over. Just come here. So, what's going on? It's Sunday. This isn't my house. Is this your house?
Is that our house? You
No.
look like you're too tall.
So what are we doing here on a weekend, Marcos?
Uh, it's snowing outside, right?
It is snowing, yeah.
So, what else we can do? Just work.
Coming to work on a weekend?
Yeah.
Is that it? Is this what we love to do? We look for every possible opportunity to get away from our wife and kids and come back to work. Is that what you're saying?
Uh, I cannot say that in public.
So what's going on here is we got called in this weekend because some friends of ours had a disaster, and we're giving up our weekend to come in and make sure that these guys are all operational for Monday. So we're going through a tag team here and taking basically everything apart and putting everything back together. So what are you working on this weekend, Marcos?
So, what I've been working is to get all the infrastructure into Azure, basically to set up Azure Site Recovery as a disaster recovery. They've been hit by a very bad crypto virus, so we have to establish everything else. The servers that they were able to recover, we are protecting them to the cloud, to just using as that's the first step to move to the cloud. Reestablish all the we lost Exchange, unfortunately. So I'm just finalizing the hardcore migration to Office 365. And right now it's what I have on my plate. What are you doing now?
So before we get onto that, so we had a complete outage of Exchange, and in effort of time, rather than go through and recover Exchange from tape backup, we're opting to take this opportunity to do a complete Office 365 cutover, and we're migrating all these users this weekend to Office 365.
Yes. So the challenge on that is we used to have a hybrid. So now that our on-prem Exchange is no longer available, that is the challenge, because we cannot migrate the accounts like a normal person can do it,
Right, there's no data to migrate.
and there is no Exchange to migrate, right? Because Exchange is totally down. So what we need to do is to force the hybrids to get off, in this case of the hybrid mode, to go fully on Office 365. And by doing that, we have a lot of things that we need to do on the background. So because a lot of the accounts were on Exchange, so there is a lot of attributes on Active Directory that is pointing to Exchange.
Right, so the big real winner here was the fact that we already had components of Office 365 set up, and because we were running in hybrid mode, all mail flow goes to Office 365 first, right?
Yes, so that was the good news, and the 76 users that they were there, they were lucky, so they didn't lost any email, they didn't lost anything. All other users, they are not on the same position, but the mail flow, it doesn't change. So because we did this previously, we didn't have time to complete before we get this crit sit, but now it's time. So we are taking care of the old legacy mail. After, what we want is to reestablish as soon as possible the flow of the email. So that's why we are working that right now, to just complete the migration in a few hours. Everything's going to be like supposed to on the cloud.
Right, and that makes sense, because effectively mail flow is broken right now for half of the people. We have what's known as a smart host, and that's going to queue those messages up, but it's only going to queue so many. So what we want to ensure is that mail flow is not going to be disrupted, and then after we get the Exchange restored, we'll be able to do the data migration afterwards,
Yeah.
right?
So The way that the flow works is you have 72 hours to not losing an email. So within 72 hours, we have to make this migration happen.
Mhm.
Otherwise, they will starting to have NDR on the people that are sending email to us. So, and we don't want that. So we want to establish everything in within 72 hours. So then that doesn't happen.
Right. So while you're on that, we're doing a couple of other activities as well, because this was widespread, and these guys, like pretty much every company out there, nobody does endpoint backup, right? So ultimately, what we've got to do is we've got to do a bare metal restore of everybody's operating system. We're not going to be able to migrate any user data that was on the devices. And because we're rebuilding the infrastructure at the same time, we're basically in a heavy touch scenario. So we're taking this opportunity to get everybody migrated over to Windows 10. They had an effective pilot, and we were waiting to pull the trigger on that. So now we're just going to take care of that this weekend as well.
Yeah, we are using all of these bad situation to get, because we are in outage right now, and we are upgrading to 2016. We are upgrading to Windows 10, so that this doesn't happen again.
And so we're also doing another big infrastructure migration this weekend as a part of the restores. What else are we doing inside of the infrastructure world?
Oh, one of my favorite projects. We get rid of VMware.
That's right. We're doing a VMware to Hyper-V migration. And why is that so important that we're taking the effort to do this extra migration as part of this recovery?
So one of the things that we are using right now is they have an old version of VMware, and we are implementing the 2016. So with all the new features and the new improvements regarding the security, with security guard, with everything that you can have on Windows on the Windows Server 2016, we are taking leverage for that. So they don't need to do an outage anymore. So with the worst scenario, we come with this brilliant idea to just use this outage to just recover it to a brand new solution with the latest technology for the latest security.
Awesome. Well, our domain controller VM has just built, so we're going to get back to work. Yeah. And thanks, guys, for tuning in, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.